We've showed you lots of different techniques around grilled chicken thighs, indirect roast sausages, and a traditional grilled steak. But today I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic restaurant quality steak, and that is going to be a reverse seared steak. So I'm just going to go ahead and light half a chimney starter, pop it over the fire lighter, and that's going to be ready to cook on in about 15 minutes. So you can see in here our charcoal is beginning to get lit, but it's not all glowing white hot, and that's perfect because we want this to pace out and not be too screaming hot to start with. So we're just going to pop our charcoal on one side of the grill here, because this method of cooking a steak actually uses both indirect and direct cooking. Next step is to pop our cooking grate on and lid down. Make sure and check your air vents. You want them to be 100% open, and we'll come back and check our temperature in a bit if we need to make any adjustments. One thing that's worth noting is your temperature probe, when you have your air vent on the opposite side, it's going to give you an even airflow and smoke coverage over the steak, but this is going to read a lot hotter than the side that you're actually cooking your steak on. So you just want to be aware of that. For a reverse sear, it's almost like a barbecue version of a sous vide. We're going to utilize this indirect side here, which has a much lower temperature, and we're going to use that to gently bring the temperature of the steak up to where we want it to be. The reason why a reverse sear is better is when you gently bring up that temperature, it cooks more evenly throughout the steak. You'll also notice when you cut open a reverse seared steak, that cross section of the meat is an even doneness throughout, as opposed to a conventional grilled steak. You'll have a ring of well done meat around the outside, mid-rare, rare in the middle. It's just a much more consistent doneness throughout. So let's go ahead and get it on. I'm going to go ahead and pop our steak as far away from the fuel as we can. We just want it to have the lowest amount of temperature coming over towards it. Always with the fat side facing the fire. And next, just a bit of salt. That's going to help it take on any smoky flavor as well. And we'll go ahead and close the lid. Once again, make sure you have your air vent opposite side to the fire. That way the heat and smoke will come up across the cooking grate, across our steaks, and up and out that way. Ideally, we're looking for them to be about 50 degrees. That's looking spot on to me. 49 is good enough. 50. They're ready to come off the grill, and we'll let them rest while we build up our fire and get them ready to sear off. So, nice little trick. Go ahead, give this a good shake, and we're going to drop our cooking grate right down onto the charcoal basket, and that's going to get those irons screaming hot and give us a fantastic sear. And we're not closing the lid right now because we want to get as much oxygen to that charcoal so they go screaming red hot, and get those grates as hot as possible to give us a really good crust on those steaks. Oftentimes I find I even need to add more charcoal at this point. I'm happy with the amount we have today. This is really hot. I can feel the heat coming off of this from here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them right over the coals. And once again, because we're doing restaurant quality, we're going to rotate them so we can get our diamond pattern. Let's check them. And these little bits here, that's what you want to see, is where the fat is starting to fry the skin from the outside and give you a really nice crust. We'll go ahead and rotate them again for that diamond pattern. And they really don't take long, so I'm going to call that good. And we're going to take them off to leave them to rest before we slice them. So we've got 2 shallots there, 1 clove of garlic, and we'll saute them off in some butter with some peppercorns, bit of brandy, a little bit of beef stock, and finish it with some cream and thyme. Go ahead and start with our butter. Good trick is to always get a nice high heat cooking oil before adding your butter in. Otherwise your butter can burn if you just put it dry in a pan while it's melting. And then in with the shallots and garlic, in with our thyme. We'll pull the twigs out later. We're just going to fry this till it's fragrant. I always like to use green peppercorns. They got a slightly more aromatic flavor to them. So we're going to add about a tablespoon and let those toast off. We've got a little bit of beef stock here. And good slosh of brandy.
What does this do to the flavors?
This This just helps burn all the alcohol off, which is an acidic flavor in it, so you're kind of left with this sweet, fruity flavor. And once the flames burn out, that's when we're going to add our cream. Okay, so our flames have burned out, all the alcohol's out. I'm going to go ahead and add a little splash of cream, let it come up to a simmer. And then it'll be ready to serve with our steak. So let's go ahead and take our cross-section cut. And that is perfect, mid-rare, isn't it? Look at how evenly cooked it is from top to bottom there. And that is the beauty of a reverse sear steak. And that is a perfectly reverse seared steak with a peppercorn sauce, all cooked on the charcoal kettle from Weber.